YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining in as we explore Salvador Bahia, Brazil today and try to answer some questions about why Michael Jackson chose this location to film one of his most iconic videos, as well as what's the deal with this mysterious church that is supposed to be representative of the slave protector in the 16 and 1700s. Let's go. As we only have a little bit of time, we got to get started on this adventure. Follow along, like, comment, subscribe. Hello YouTube, I'm standing right in front of the house that Michael Jackson recorded the video, They Don't Care About Us. It was on these very streets that he made the iconic video. And right now they have a life-size cutout of Michael Jackson up there, which is pretty awesome. And the video is one of his best videos in my opinion. He filmed it here as well as in some scenes from Rio de Janeiro. So it's very, very Brazilian in culture, and the music, the sound, the band that he used for that video was a Brazilian band. The band that Michael Jackson used was called 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐤. They are a very famous band in Brazil for their participation in Carnival each year. And they are the original creators of a local type of music called samba reggae, which is a mix of traditional Brazilian samba, merengue, and salsa, as well as regular reggae music. And this type of music is a combination of their African roots, Brazilian and Latin influences, as well as reggae music, which we know from the Caribbean. Yeah, we're here just experiencing it. This is a beautiful square where it was done, right up the street from the biggest slave import city and, location that there ever was. So Michael Jackson definitely put a lot of thought into that video, right? So let's not forget about the meaning of the video and the location that he chose for it, and we can see why now that we know the history behind it. So guys, do your research, travel, get that passport. Follow, like, and subscribe to your boy Kari.HQ. Yeah, so I'm about to grab this shirt from my Nigerian sister right here. She got all the reels right next to the Michael Jackson video spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, how much you pay to be here?
Actually, we are here for now.
For now?
To get the show.
For free?
Yeah.
You don't pay anything to be here. It's free.
It's given by the government.
Oh, okay.
So for now, we are here for now. For the time, we'll be able to get another step.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's 100 reals for this shirt. There you go.
Okay, obrigado.
You guys are super nice about it.
Yes.
Would you like to
We give you
follow?
our channels. Alright. You have the YouTube app? Alright.
Of course. She's already a subscriber.
Actually, I want to be a YouTuber.
You should.
I'm very shy to face
Don't be
the
shy.
camera.
Don't be shy. There's nothing to it. There's nothing
You
to
can
it.
do it. You can do it. You can do anything. Look at you now. You're so far from home, you know? Ivan's getting a new sub. That's me.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, okay?
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. And we stay in touch, you know?
Here's a card of mine, okay?
Alright. Thank you so much. Alright. See you next time. Obrigado.
So guys, this is the official house where Michael Jackson shot the video, They Don't Care About Us. Now, if you watch the video, you'll see he was right here in these streets in front of me. The band was right here in the streets in front of me, on these very streets right here. And the video was completely shot in this square, along with some scenes in Rio de Janeiro and a couple, B-roll shots, filler shots in different favelas and things like that. So the house sometimes is open and you can go inside it depending on the day. Today it's closed because it is Sunday, but you can see it's just an old school traditional house, the typical type of house that you'll see in Salvador Bahia. And right now they have the cutout of Michael Jackson when he was shooting the video, right? So it's supposed to be life-size, so pretty interesting, pretty cool. Very great history here. And so I believe this is the church that represents the protector of the Negro people, the enslaved people of Salvador Bahia. This was a place or church that our waiter was telling us about earlier. So it actually is one of the more beautiful churches in the area, I'll say. A lot of the Portuguese style churches that we saw up in the main square kind of pale in comparison to this one. I think this one's really well done. So the official name of this church is the Church of the Third Order of Our Lady of the Rosary of the Black People. And you might hear a few different versions on the history of this church, but what we know for sure is this was a church where slaves and freed black people could come and practice their religion, because at the time in the 16 and 1700s, they were not allowed to practice in the main churches that the Portuguese people had built. So upon entering this church, you can feel a spooky, weird vibe, and I think it has to do with the history of this place. What a cool church. It's very dark. This was a slave worshiping church. This was a church where the slaves worshiped.
Any person can attend the masses of here.
Yes.
Who are celebrated on Wednesday. Okay.
Yes.
What for me is very interesting that the Virgin of Rosary, she's a white woman. She was not a black
Yes.
woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
As our friend and tour guide was telling us, there were still some white figures that were worshipped in this church by the black people that worshipped here. Oddly enough, they did not have the ability to only worship black people. They had to still worship the Virgin Mary as a white person and other figures from the Bible as white people. And it's hard to believe, but this church took over 100 years to build. It was said that the groups that were working on building it were a lot of volunteers that just used their spare time to work on the church. They needed a lot of carpenters and people with those types of skills. But the general congregation of the church did not have a lot of money to put into the church. So that's why it took so long for them to build it. I was happy to find out that the church is still having service to this very day. And I found it very interesting that a lot of the figures in the church, as you could see right before us, are black. Not all of them are white. So there was some usage of black, skin tones and stuff. When I got inside this church and I took a look around, I was definitely not disappointed about how well they did as far as the work they did inside of this church. From every detail to the floors, all the way up to the painting, from everything in between was really well done in this church. And I didn't go into all the other churches in town, but I do feel like not only does the outside of this church have one of the best looks to it, but also the inside as well. And I think it's something that you can only get from a passion project. And I know for the people that worked on this church, this was a true passion project. It wasn't just a job. So when we say that this church was made for the slave protector, this is the lady that we're referring to. She used to clean up the slaves, care for them, and did her best to try to improve their lives. And she was one of the main figures or most important people at this church.
Are these burial or
Yeah.
people buried here?
That's a cemetery.
Oh, okay, it's a cemetery.